Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Mari. I'm one of the librarians at Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine, and I'm here today to finish reading The Year of the Rat by Grace Lin. This book is published by Little Brown and Company, and we're going to start right off with chapter 28, Using My Talent. And you can see a picture of some of the kids at the talent show that Pacey is trying to figure out how she wants to participate in. Back at school, it seemed like everyone was busy with the talent show except for me. I knew it wasn't really true. There were lots of people who didn't get in or didn't try out like me, but it seemed like every day people were practicing or rehearsing more than, well, I just watched. Most people were singing or dancing or lip syncing. Even Dunway was in the talent show. Sam Mercer found out that Dunway could play the piano and got him to play keyboard for his band, the Black Spiders. I thought about singing or playing violin or joining Becky and Charlotte with their dance of cartwheels and kicks, but in the end, I didn't. None of those things were what I wanted to do. The truth was that I already knew what my talent was. It was writing and drawing books. I remembered Mom's story and tried to be thankful for my talent, but it was hard. Not only was my talent wrong for the talent show, but it was a cold door. I used to think my talent was so great, but now I was starting to change my mind. For the talent show, Mr. Davidson said, we have decided that someone in our class will do the poster, while someone in Mrs. Janney's class will create the program. So who would like to design the poster? A poster! Even though it wasn't making the book, I had the talent to do that. I raised my arm so fast it was as if it was being pulled by a string. Mr. Davidson smiled. Well, Mr. Davidson said, I think our resident artist wants the job. Okay, Grace, after class I'll give you the poster board and you can bring it home to work on. The poster board was big. It came up to my shoulders, and I had to place it on the top of my toes when I carried so I didn't kick it. Since this was the only way I was going to be able to show my talent at the talent show, I wanted to do a good job. I remembered for how our quilt square project we had to do practice drawings, so I did a couple of rough drafts first. I was glad I did. Mr. Davidson told me that the poster had to have the words Oxford Roads Elementary School's talent show on it, as well as the date and time, and it was hard to fit everything. I put Oxford Road Elementary School talent show in a box in the middle and the date and the time on the bottom. Then all around the border, I drew pictures of some of the acts in the talent show. I drew Becky and Charlotte dancing, Sam Mercer's band, the Black Spiders. I drew them the biggest. Holly Honchel singing, even Kurt and Rich lip syncing. I used all the colors in my marker set. I used my black marker so much that it dried up, and I had to get another one. It took me a long time, so long that I didn't even bring it to school until the night of the talent show. You can see there, Pacey drawing the big poster for the talent show. But when I brought it to school, no one paid attention to me. Everyone was rushing around putting makeup on, going over music, or tying dance shoes. When I brought the poster to Mr. Davidson, all he said was, "Oh good, the poster." And quickly, without even looking, he hung it up on the wall right next to the door of the auditorium and ran to check the sound equipment for the microphones. I was starting to feel like a popped balloon. As most of the audience started to go into the auditorium, they mostly didn't even look at my poster. The ones that did only glanced at it and kept walking. It was so unfair. No one cared about my talent at all. Guess it was because the talent show was showing their real talent. Becky and Charlotte did their dance and got a standing ovation. Sam Mercer's band made the walls shake, and some parents covered their ears. Kurt and Rich's lip syncing made the crowd shout with laughter. These talents were the important ones. My talent was just a cold wind on a winter day. So after the final clapping, while the lights went up, the crowds outside the auditorium were congratulating and photographing the performers. I carefully took down my poster and carried it home. No one was looking at it anyway. Chapter 29, Famous. The next morning at breakfast, Dad slapped the newspaper down in front of my bowl of rice porridge. "You're a star," he said. "Can I have your autograph?" What was he talking about it? And then I saw it. There was a picture of me in the paper. I couldn't believe it. It was a picture of me carrying the poster. The title of the photo said, Oxford Road Elementary shows many talents, and underneath the caption said, the Oxford Road Elementary School held its talent show last night. The singing, dancing, and musical talents of the school were captured in the poster by the drawing talent of Grace Lin. The big poster almost covered me completely. You could just see my head and the top part of my shoulder. I didn't know they took the picture. I wasn't even looking at the camera, so they must have taken it while I was looking away. Suddenly the world that had seemed so gloomy was sparkling like ginger ale in a glass cup. I'd never had my photo in the paper before. My poster was in there, and they wrote about my talent. Someone had paid attention, after all. "Can I cut the picture out to bring to school?" I asked. I couldn't wait to show everyone. But when I got to school, everyone already knew. I was famous. Becky had cut it out of her newspaper just to show me in case I hadn't seen it. Mr. Davison hung a copy from his newspaper on the door of his classroom, and Mrs. Janney hung one on her door. The whole class gathered around and tried to see whom I had drawn on the poster. It was a little hard to tell since the photo was a lot smaller than the real thing. So Mr. Davison asked if I could bring the poster back in again. Sam Mercer even asked me if I could draw the poster for his band. I'd been wrong to change my mind about my talent. It was a pretty good one to have. I don't know why I ever doubted it. You can see the picture of Pacey with her poster and the paper, and also everyone clouding around the picture pasted on her classroom door. Chapter 30, Resolutions. The weather seemed to turn cold in a snap. Even though we were ready, everyone was surprised when snow fell from the sky as if someone were pouring down sugar. "Lots of snow today," Dad said in the morning. "You lucky kids." The radio said that there's no school. It's so cold outside that it's breaking records. I wish I could have a snow day. I'm going to turn into a snowman going to work today. No school. It was like a surprise vacation. I was all ready to go outside and play till I opened the door. Brrr! The cold wind bit my face and the inside of my nose stung as if icicles suddenly formed there. I closed the door. "It's so cold out there," I said, shivering. "It froze my nose." Dad laughed, and I warned you. And said, "I warned you. That's what you get when you open a cold door." All of a sudden, Dad saying that reminded me about the other cold door. The cold door of becoming an author and illustrator. Even though I didn't have any doubts about my talent anymore, I still didn't like that door. But for almost 2 years, I had thought about being an author and an illustrator, and then that was what I wanted to be and who I was going to become. Now I just didn't know. Was being an author and illustrator just a wishful dream, or was it something that I could make happen? Was it even something I should try to make happen? "Remember at Chinese New Year when we wrote those resolutions?" I asked Dad. "Remember how you told me that some things you made happen and other things you just wished?" Dad nodded. "Well, how do you know which is which?" I asked. "And how do you know which are the things that you should try for?" Well, this is a hard question for so early in the morning. Dad said, "I guess it's different for every person. You have to know yourself and know what you can do." "Can't someone just tell me?" I said. "It's too hard to figure out." "No, no one can tell you," Dad said. "Only you can decide because only you know who you are." "I know who I am," I said, "and Mom too." "You know who I am," I said, "and Mom too. You're my parents." "We're your parents," Dad said, "but that doesn't mean we truly know you. It's like that story." One day, 2 philosophers were walking outdoors. As they crossed the bridge, they stopped and saw an orange fish glide through the muddy green water, like floating tangerine peels. In the sunlight, the fish sparkled like fireflies. "The fish are happy today," one philosopher said to the other. "How do you know?" the other philosopher replied. "You're not a fish." The friends continued walking. Their footsteps crunched the carpet of gold leaves as they passed, and each was quiet. The first philosopher was deep in thought, considering their conversation. Finally, he said to the other, "How do you know that I do not know the fish are happy?" The first philosopher said, "You are not me." "So you can see," Dad said, "only you really know yourself, and only you can really make your decisions." I guess Dad was right. It was up to me. All the things I didn't like, being scared of the cold door, feeling ashamed about Dunway and being Chinese, getting bad grades, feeling weird with Becky and Charlotte, even trying to get Sam Mercer to notice me. I was the one who had to change those things, and knowing was a little scary. "Why do you look frightened all of a sudden?" "I didn't realize I'd have to decide and do things," I said. "I liked it better when you and Mom did everything." "Ah, you're growing up," Dad said. "Don't worry, it's not that bad. Do you remember how I told you the story about the 12 animals of the Chinese New Year? The tiger came in 3rd place, without a raft or friends helping him. He looked at the wild and fierce waters and went in, relying on just himself, his courage, and his strength to get across. You were born in the year of the tiger, so you're brave. You can face anything." Dad's words warmed me up as if I had put on a fur coat. I could be brave. I didn't need tiger luck. I was a tiger. I could almost feel the tiger stripes on my back. I wouldn't let the changes of the year of the rat sink me. Chapter 31, Brave Like a Tiger. That night, Melody was so excited when she called me, could barely understand what she was saying. "Guess what?" she said. "Guess what? I'm coming back to New Hertfordshire for a visit." I couldn't believe it, but it was true. Melody was going to come back to visit. Her parents were selling the house to Dunway's family, and Melody's mom had to come back and take care of some paperwork and details. Melody's mom asked if she could stay with us while she was here, and she was going to bring Melody because we know you two would never forgive us if I came alone. But they weren't coming around until Chinese New Year. That seemed so far away. But luckily, the winter days were blowing by. In school, we were doing open projects again about endangered animals, and this time I was making a book. "Are you sure you don't want to be a third partner?" Becky asked out on the playground at recess. We were watching the boys play football in the snow. The boys liked to play football in the snow because they could dive on the ground without getting hurt. We liked to watch because it was funny to see them covered in snow, especially Sam Mercer, who rolled around so much that he looked like a gingerbread cookie with white icing. "You'll have to do all that work on panda bears yourself," Becky added. "That's okay," I said. "If I want to be an author and an illustrator, I better practice as much as I can." "What if you don't become an author and an illustrator?" Charlotte asked. "Then you would have done all that practicing for nothing." "It won't be for nothing," I said, trying to feel as brave as a tiger. "I know I'm going to be one, no matter what." And after I said that, I did feel brave like a tiger. What did I care about cold doors when I had fur that was thick and warm? Just like the tiger that jumped into the wild water because he wanted to win the race, I was going to jump through the door and become an author and illustrator. I wouldn't be afraid anymore. "So when is Melody coming back?" Charlotte asked. I had told them all about her phone call that morning. "In a couple months," I said, smiling. "Just in time for Chinese New Year." "Well, maybe it's good that you're doing the project by yourself then," Becky said in a funny voice. "We won't see you at all once Melody arrived." Suddenly, I stopped smiling. Now I understood why everything felt clumsy and awkward when I was with Charlotte and Becky. When Melody had moved here 2 years ago, we had become best friends, and I had stopped being such good friends with Becky and Charlotte. Not only had I ignored them and probably hurt their feelings, all the things that I had been interested and cared about were different now. They hadn't changed. I changed. "Wow, look at that throw," Charlotte said as a ball whizzed through the air. "Who threw that?" "It was Dunway," Becky said. "Can you believe it? I guess Dunway is a pretty good football player." I took a deep breath and gathered my tiger strength. If I was ever going to make things better with Becky and Charlotte, I'd have to let them know how I had changed. I had to let them know that the things that wouldn't have bothered me before bothered me now. "I don't think it's nice to call him Dunway," I said. "His name is Dunway." "But everyone calls him that," Becky said. I swallowed hard and I looked at my feet. "I don't," I said, "because I think it's kind of mean." When I peeked up, I saw Becky looking at me with her head cocked, like a surprised pigeon. Slowly she nodded. "You're right," she said. "It is mean. I won't do it anymore." "Thanks," I said, and it was as if the ice in my stomach had suddenly melted away. "You know what? When Melody comes, you two should come over. I bet my mom would let me have a sleepover." "Yeah, that would be fun," Charlotte said, and they smiled at me. I smiled back. Everything would be all right. Deep inside me, I heard a tiger roar. It was so loud and strong, I was surprised I never knew it was there before. Chapter 32, Christmas. One of the good things about winter is that there were so many vacations. After Thanksgiving, we had Christmas and New Year's off, and then another vacation in February. I was really looking forward to the one in February because that was when Melody was coming. But now it was Christmas, and even though it wasn't vacation, the vacation I mostly wanted to happen, I still had a good time. For Christmas, Mom took us shopping for our presents. We didn't give presents the way that most American families did, where they bought things ahead of time and wrapped them for a surprise. Mom just took us shopping and bought us what we wanted. She said Chinese people usually just gave people money anyway. This used to bother me, but now I thought this was the best way to do it. It was too easy for Mom to make a mistake otherwise. Lissy didn't come shopping with us. She just took the money and decided to get what she wanted herself. She never wanted to go shopping with us anymore, even though she went to the mall all the time. She didn't want her friends to see her with us. Mom said that Lissy was going through a phase. Shopping was fun. All the stores glittered red and gold and green with their holiday decorations and Christmas carols jingling merrily through the loudspeakers. Kiki and I liked to look on the outside window of Costum's department store. Every Christmas, they put up a special holiday display. This year, they had a toy Santa with his reindeer. Out of all the displays I could remember, it was my favorite, even though they didn't have a red-nosed Rudolph. I guess they forgot. Here's the display. First, we went to the toy store for Kiki. They had hula hoops and plastic cars and doll houses as tall as I was. Kiki liked looking at the Barbie dolls, even though Mom would never let her get one. Barbie had long blonde hair and shiny clothes, just like the princesses in Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty. I kind of understood why Kiki liked that doll. When I was younger, I thought that Barbie was beautiful, but Mom didn't think so. "You don't want one of those," Mom said to Kiki. "Please," Kiki said, "everyone else has one. Only our family isn't allowed to have Barbie. It's not fair." That wasn't 100% true. Melody hadn't been allowed to have a Barbie doll either. I think our mothers talked to each other. "It's her Christmas present," I said, trying to help Kiki. "You promised us you'd get whatever we wanted." "Okay," Mom said with a sigh, and she scanned down the aisle. Her eyes stopped at Dolls of the World Barbies. There were these Barbie dolls dressed up to look like they were from different countries. They were more expensive than the regular ones, which were on sale, but Mom didn't seem to notice. And so she picked up the Barbie from China with a dark red dress and black hair and offered it to Kiki. "How about this one?" Mom said. Kiki grabbed it. I think she was so excited that Mom was actually going to buy her one that she would have taken anything. "Okay," she said. "How about you, Pacey?" Mom asked. We left the toy store because I felt like I was too old for toys, and we went to the bookstore. I knew that Becky and Charlotte would think that wanting books for Christmas present was weird, but I didn't care. That was what I wanted. "How many can I get?" "How about 3? How come Pacey gets 3 books and I only get 1 doll?" Kiki asked. I knew she was hoping she could get another doll. "You can get a book too," Mom told her. Kiki quickly grabbed a Barbie book. Mom wrinkled her nose, but let her have it. I picked out 3 books carefully. Finally decided on Anne of Green Gables, The Last Unicorn, and Theater Shoes. "Are you sure you want those?" Mom asked. "They seem a lot longer than the other books you read." I nodded. I had picked them out especially because they were extra thick. I was hoping that they would make the days go by faster while I waited for February vacation, Chinese New Year, and Melody to come. Chapter 33, Waiting for Melody. I knew Chinese New Year was coming when we finally threw out the Christmas tree. It was only then that Dad was forced to stop putting off throwing it out. In the meantime, pine needles looked like brown grains of rice, and whenever anyone passed, a cascade fell on the floor. Dad dragged the tree out to the trash, and Mom swept up the floors. She swept the needles and every speck of dust out the back door. "Now we have to sweep the bad luck out of the house, too," Mom said. "The first of the year is the broom's birthday." "The broom has a birthday?" I asked, laughing. "Do we give it a party?" "No," Mom said. "We give it a rest." No one is allowed to use a broom on the new year. If you do, you'll sweep out all your good luck and the money away. "For real?" I asked. I was starting to think these superstitions were silly. "Who knows," Mom said, "but why risk it?" That was true. So when Mom had us hang the red banner on our door, get our hair cut, go through all the chopsticks to throw out any that had chips, because it would mean that something was eating away at your fortune, we didn't complain. Though I felt like Mom was being pickier about Chinese New Year than she usually was. She even bought new sheets and silk dresses for us. But I did like getting a new one. I could finally stop wearing Lissy's old green one. Mom said that we could choose whatever we wanted for our new Chinese dresses. She ordered them from a catalog, so Lissy, Kiki, and I laid on the ground looking at it, turning every glossy page and inspecting each picture carefully. "I want the one that's all white," Kiki said. Ever since she was a flower girl, she wanted her clothes to be winter white. "No, Mom said. "You can't wear a white Chinese dresses. In Chinese tradition, white is the color of funerals." "Really?" Lissy asked. "What's black for then?" "Well, people wear black for funerals too," Mom said. "Both of those colors are not lucky to wear for Chinese New Year." Lissy looked disappointed. I knew she wanted to get the dress that was all black because she said black was always stylish. But instead she chose dark blue again. "Don't get dark blue again," I told her. "What's the point of getting a new dress that's almost exactly the same?" "That's true," Mom said, "especially since your old dress still fits you. Also, one of the reasons why we get new dresses for the new year is so that it confuses any evil spirits. We're hoping that in your new clothes they won't know you." Lissy made a face, but she chose a deep eggplant purple dress with fortune flowers on it. Kiki chose a pale icy blue with butterflies. I knew I wanted the coral red one with goldfish, but what Mom had said about spirits not knowing us in our new clothes was bothering me. I hadn't seen Melody in a long time. Maybe when she came during Chinese New Year, she wouldn't know me either. That would be horrible. I was hoping that wouldn't be the last change of the Year of the Rat. You can see Pacey's dress up here. Chapter 34, finally Chinese New Year. Melody was coming on the eve of Chinese New Year. Our school was on winter vacation then, so it was perfect for me. Her school had a different schedule, but her mom arranged for her to take some days off. The night before she came, I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. I felt like a popcorn kernel about to pop. But I was a little worried. Maybe we both had changed so much that we wouldn't be such good friends anymore. On my bed, I could see the night turn into morning out my window. A streak of light was spreading across the grim sky like milk just poured into tea. As soon as the last bit of grayness faded away, I jumped out of bed to get everyone up. We had to go pick up Melody at the airport. We got to the airport early and waited and waited and waited. Melody's plane was late, and I'd almost given up hope that she was coming, but then she popped through the gate doors. She saw me and gave me a wide grin, as big as a watermelon slice. Relief rushed through me. Nothing had changed. Melody still knew me, and I still knew her. And when we were together again, it was exactly like she had never left. She looked exactly the same, except for she was shorter. "I'm not shorter," she said when I told her this. "You're taller." We talked so fast to each other that Mom thought that we were speaking another language. I told Melody everything I had already told her over the phone again, and all the things I had saved up to tell her. How I got an A+ on my giant panda book, how Dunway replaced Kurt as the quarterback for the school football team when Kurt skipped too many practices, and how Sam Mercer smiled at me at lunch and told me the poster I did for the Black Spiders band was awesome. I even told her how I had decided Dunway wasn't the enemy and how I wasn't afraid of the cold door anymore. Melody told me about how in California it was so warm that at Christmas time she wore a t-shirt. And there were so many cute boys there, even Asian boys, especially a boy named Gregory Chen who had long black hair, and that at the supermarket you could choose the fish you wanted from a tank and the butcher would hit it with a club to kill it for you. Everything was completely fascinating. It seemed like another world. We talked so much that I didn't help Mom at all with the Chinese New Year dinner. Mom said it was okay, that I hadn't seen Melody in such a long time that I could just spend time with her. Besides, Melody's mom was helping, though she probably wasn't enjoying it. I could hear Mom frying lots of unhealthy food. "Time to eat," Mom called. Giggling and laughing, Melody and I came down the stairs. Lissy finished setting the table while Kiki carefully scooped rice into bowls. The scoops of white rice were so perfectly rounded from the spoon that they looked like snowballs. Melody's mom set down the big bowl of bird's nest soup on the table with the red-brown roasted duck, purple eggplant shining with brown sauce that looked like syrup, leafy broccoli, golden pan-fried fish, the glistening jade green cabbage, and steamed light pink dumplings. All the rich, fried aromas mixed together, and I smelled the familiar scent of Chinese New Year. "Ah, it's nice to be together again for Chinese New Year, isn't it?" Dad said as we all sat down at the table. "I think that's the most important lesson of the neon monster." "What monster?" I asked. "The neon monster," Dad said, "the whole reason why we celebrate Chinese New Year. A long time ago, a fierce monster that could eat an entire village in one swallow lived in the mountains. More ferocious and wild than any dragon or unicorn, he only woke and fed one time a year, on the Lunar New Year. But the horror and destruction he caused were unimaginable. All year long, the people lived in fear and dread. So when the days got closer and closer to the neon's feeding time, people began to despair. There must be something we can do to save ourselves and stop the neon monster, they said. But what? The neon monster was so strong and so enormous, no one could fight it. It would be worse than ants attacking a dragon. And the neon monster came silently in the night without warning. It wouldn't matter if they had an army fighting for them. The village would be destroyed before anyone knew. It was hopeless. But one day, a wise old man came to the village. "I know how you can survive the neon monster," he said. "It's afraid of light, the color red, and loud noises. On the night it wakes, you must cover your homes in red banners, light red lanterns, play loud drums, and set off firecrackers. It will scare the neon away, and you will live another cycle." The people thanked the old man and did as he said. They hung brilliant red banners, the color of a cooked crab shell, over their doors and windows. They lit so many lanterns that their village looked as if it were on fire. They pounded their drums as if they were dangerous beasts, and their fireworks deafened even those miles away. But even as they did this, they were afraid. What if the old man was wrong? What if all this failed and the neon destroyed them anyway? So as the sun burned away from the sky like a dying coal, all feared it would be their last night on earth. They ate their favorite foods and wore their best clothes. Arguments were forgiven and debts were paid. Friends and family gathered together to be with each other one last time. But when the light of the sun cracked through the dark sky, there was a great rejoicing. The old man had been right. The neon monster had come and gone, scared by the red banners and loud noises. All were alive and the village was saved. From then on, the new year was celebrated in this way. On the night when the neon monster was to come, homes were decorated with red banners, favorite foods were eaten, and friends and family gathered together. And that's why we call the Chinese New Year Gao Nian. Dad finished, it means survive the year, or really surviving the neon monster. Well, happy Gao Nian, Melody said, giving me a look. We survived the changes of the year of the rat. You can see a picture of the village. I guess the year of the rat did bring some changes, Dad said, but the important things like family and true friends never change. I thought about that. The year of the rat had brought lots of changes and worries. Melody moving, Dunway coming, my talent, and the cold door. A lot of them I hadn't liked and had made me uncomfortable or nervous, but I had survived. And looking around the table at Mom, Dad, Melody, Melody's mom, Kiki, and even Lissy, I realized what Dad said was true. The important things never changed. I felt like I finally understood what Dad meant when he talked about fate and destiny and wishes and resolution. The love of my friends and families was my fate, but I had power to change my destiny. And I had the power to change and shape my destiny. Gongxi, gongxi, Zian nan hao, Melody said as she clicked her glasses with mine. Wishing you a happy new year. Wishing all of us a good new year, I said. But I didn't need any good wishes. I grinned at everyone around the table, confident and sure. I knew this next New Year was going to be good. In fact, all the New Years after this were going to be great. I would make sure of it. And the last picture is everyone together, all around the table. And that's the end of this book. I hope you enjoyed it. We just finished The Year of the Rat by Grace Lin. This book was published by Little Brown and Company, and I think it was a lot of fun to read. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week for another new book. My name is Sarah Mari. I'm one of the librarians at Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.